Okay, there we are. So, new space.
Who dis?
Who dis? New space. We've been on hiatus for a month. I think it's time we get back into the geekery.
I think so too. I agree.
So, without further ado, let Author August begin!
Woo!
The General Geekery podcast proudly presents to you Author August. Today's author of topic is C.S. Lewis. Enjoy!
So what do you think? Was that a good idea for an intro?
I think that's fine.
Okay, alright, awesome.
It's perfectly acceptable. It wasn't too embarrassing for either of us.
Wow. Well, alright then.
I don't know why I phrased it like that.
Well, let's just get right down to it. Ho! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the General Geekery podcast.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
It has been a very long month. We apologize for being on hiatus, but I just moved house, so we weren't able to get together and record. But we are back now, ready here to bring you all of the content that you love. This is the General Geekery podcast. This is the podcast where we love to geek out about all that we love to geek out about with no remorse.
No regrets.
And with all of the enthusiasm
In the world. Indeed.
Oh, I was gonna follow that.
Oh, you? Oh, indeed is my part.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Maybe we'll just... Still, that was good enough. As always...
Good enough.
It was good. As always, I am your resident coffee ninja by day, actor, gamer, and streamer by night, Donald Kaczynski, back once again. And joining me as always, she is our resident dice slinger extraordinaire, artiste magnificent, and purveyor of all things dystopia related, Hannah Kubiak.
Who, me? Hello.
Yes, you. And this is the first edition of what we are calling Author August. So it's no secret that we are all a bunch of bookworms on top of being geeks and nerds.
Mm-hmm.
And
kind of comes with the territory, honestly.
Yeah. Books play a big portion in a lot of people's lives and shape a lot of geekdom-related stuff. So I thought it would be nice to dedicate a month to some of our favorite authors and give them some love, talk about why their writings have influenced us today, and just have a bunch of fun with it. And I figured we could start off with someone who greatly impacted my childhood.
Dr. Seuss.
Okay, another one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mr. C.S. Lewis.
Oh yeah.
Now we've mentioned C.S. Lewis in the past, mainly in reference to his Inklings counterpart J.R.R. Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
But we never went into much detail of Lewis himself,
Yeah.
which is strange because his works are just as influential as Tolkien's.
Yeah.
I would say. So for those of you not aware, C.S. Lewis famously is the author of the entire Chronicles of Narnia series. So The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, Silver Chair, all of it is from his brainchild.
Yep.
And is acclaimed as like some of the best early children's literature in history.
Yeah. And, let me see. He actually has a really interesting story. So he was born in Belfast.
Yay, Ireland!
Yay, Ireland! And I've had the pleasure of reading some of his nonfiction as well. There's one called Surprised by Joy: The Shape of My Early Life, where he talks about sort of growing up, and him and his, I think he had a little brother. Yes, Warren Lewis, his brother. He talks about this sort of game that they used to play. They made up a world. I believe it was called, what was it called? it was called like Animal Planet or something. No, that's a channel on the Discovery Channel. But it was like kind of like a precursor to Narnia, where animals were more
Boxen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it says right here. He and his brother Warnie created the world of Boxen, inhabited and run by animals.
Yes, there we go. And so that sort of playfulness, I think, never really left him. But he had just one of the shrewdest minds, I feel like. Just so logical. If you read any of his nonfiction, or even just like some of his fiction that's a little bit more on the a little bit more on the ethical or religious side, just his attention to detail and his ability to make really complicated concepts seem really simple was just amazing to me. So maybe I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but
right,
there's a lot of his nonfiction is excellent as well. I know that he's known for the Narnia books and the Screw Tape Letters and stuff.
But he has so much more following him.
So much more, yeah. And let's see, what have you read by C.S. Lewis?
It was mainly the Narnia books. I haven't had the chance to really read his nonfiction. I knew his bibliography is extensive.
Right.
He's got many different works, but the Narnia books were always what drew me to him and what always kept me coming back. Because I first read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when I was, I believe, in 4th grade by one of my favorite teachers, Amy Domagowski. I still remain in contact with her to this day. Hi, Miss D. Hope you're listening. Love you. And she was the one that introduced me to that story. And just like how Tolkien, the writings of Tolkien invigorated this imagination in my mind about the world of like Middle Earth, reading The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe invigorated this mystical imagination of the world of Narnia underneath the witch. This eternal permafrost of winter.
Yeah.
All this grand scenery covered in ice and snow, slowly being melted, to the meeting at the stone table. And it really captured my imagination. And then as you proceed in like the readings, like in Prince Caspian, what happened after the children left, and time moved on faster in Narnia than it did in the real world for them, because it was like, what, 1 or 2 years following?
Yeah. Like time moves differently in Narnia as opposed to in on Earth. Yeah.
in our world. Yeah. And I forget the name. The Telmarines. I believe it was. The Telmarines basically invaded Narnia and overtook it, and like the mystical magic of like the talking animals, the trees interacting with life basically receded.
Right.
And they became feral.
Well, yeah, in the last battle, there was this sort of thing that happened where the animals started to lose their voices, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Wicked, where like something bad happening in Oz. Yeah, it's kind of like that. And that was a really cool sort of concept, that the animals sort of as placeholders for humans, but you could kind of, their ability to speak was sort of based on like what they were like and how they behaved. Where just like when the animals start to behave more like animals, they lose the characteristics that are a little bit more human, and I might just be thinking of this in relation to a discussion that I just had with my mom about the Abolition of Man, which is another book that C.S. Lewis wrote about humans and how a human is sort of like they can become too much animal or too much man. So they could be sort of like pure instinct and appetite animal, or they could become sort of these just pure reason and logic and thought, and they reject emotion of any kind. But a human is sort of a combination of these two. That's what makes humans human, is spirit and body, if you subscribe to that kind of explanation.
If you subscribe to that kind of explanation. Yeah. And Tolkien was strike that, reverse it. Donald, stop.
We're not talking about Tolkien anymore, man.
I know, sorry. and Lewis was very descriptive about like certain events, like being and did not shy away from like a lot of like the dark moments in like, I remember the description of like Aslan being killed on the stone table in the first one, and imagining this just horrific scene like in my mind, like, oh man, that it was traumatizing. As like a 9-year-old, I was crying reading those pages.
Something interesting about Narnia that would be fun to talk about is there's this guy who wrote this book called the Narnia Code.
Okay.
No, it's called Planet Narnia, I think. Planet Narnia. And it's about sort of Lewis's fascination with the planets. And in some of his poetry, he wrote about each planet and everything. And then there's this guy who was reading the poetry at one point, figured out that each of the 7 books in the Narnia series correspond to a different planet. And
really?
Yeah, like the first one, he was reading a poem, and there was a line. It was about Jupiter, and the line was winter past and guilt forgiven, in the thing about Jupiter.
Okay.
And so that was the line, the witch and the wardrobe, right?
Okay.
The winter and the stuff. And so this guy, Michael Ward, who wrote Planet Narnia.
Yep, I have it up right here.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
Written in 2007.
Yeah. So he basically he read that poem and was like, "Oh my gosh! I wonder if each of the other books is connected to a planet." And so he figured out that they were. And there was also this documentary that was made kind of about the book.
Yeah, by the BBC.
By the BBC, yeah. And he explained some of the planets, and then some other ones are left up to, you have to go and read the book to find out.
God bless the BBC. You've done an adaptation of that entire thing, and you've also done dramatized adaptations of all of the books.
Yep.
God bless you.
I'm trying to think here. I think, if I recall correctly, yeah, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was Jupiter. I think Prince Caspian was Mars.
Dawn Treader?
Voyage of the Dawn Treader was the Sun.
Silver Chair?
Silver Chair, the Moon, I think.
Horse and His Boy.
That one I do not know.
Magician's Nephew?
Magician's Nephew? I don't know that one either.
And then Last Battle.
Last Battle. Nope, don't know.
Funny thing to note, I actually forgot about this. Basically, all 6 of those books were released like 1 year after the other.
Wow.
Like between the 1950 to 1956.
Yeah. And there's, you know how we say that you have to watch the Star Wars series in the order in which they were released? You know, where it's like when our generation is when like our kids are watching these things, they're going to be so confused because we're going to be like, okay, first we have to watch episodes 4 through 6. Then we watch episodes 1 through 3. Then we watch whatever
the sequel trilogy.
Then we watch and then we watch whatever came out next, the sequel trilogy. And then you got to watch Clone Wars and then Rebels. But then you got to go back to the time after the Clone Wars, but before Rebels, which is the Bad Batch, and
Right.
it's just so confusing.
Right. The Narnia books kind of work the same way.
Narnia is the same way because he wrote them in a specific order, but they're not chronological.
I think it was like the first time like a book series even took that approach.
Yeah, and so I believe
I think I actually have it up right here.
the first 4 are in order, and then the 6th one is like a prequel that takes place before The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah,
and the last battle,
because the magician's nephew was basically the professor that was the
Yeah.
house from the house that they were living in.
Professor Diggory, was that his name? Or am I just confusing him with Cedric Diggory from Harry Potter?
You may be confusing him for Cedric Diggory. Hold on, let me check.
Or was it Diggums? No, that's Mulch Diggums from Artemis Fowl.
Okay, the Pevensies, Aslan, White Witch.
Was it Diggums?
Let's see. The professor. Full name is Diggory Kirk.
Oh, Diggory. That's what his name
So,
was.
so the first name was Diggory.
His first name was Diggory. Okay. So Professor Diggory, the magician's nephew, is the story of him when he was a little boy, and how he and a friend of his traveled to basically an apocalyptic world and accidentally brought the witch back with them, and she ended up being they were all present at the creation of Narnia by Aslan or something like that. Like it was a creation story. So maybe the magician's nephew was Earth.
I would say so. Well, basically because Magician's Nephew was kind of like the story of like how the land of Narnia was originally created.
Like the Book of Genesis. Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
And it's so cool because it explains why there's a random lamppost in the middle of the woods. Is because the queen showed up in London and like grabbed a lamppost to defend herself, and then they get like bamfed away to wherever Narnia was going to be, and she like dropped the lamppost and it grew like a tree. So, you know.
Hail the kings and queens of Narnia, hailing from the land of Spare Oom in the town of Wardrobe.
Yep.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then the horse and his boy was like a weird little like inclusion chapter that took place like during like during the reign of like the Pevensies.
I feel like it was it was before they
went back.
That's right, because they were there at some sort of council. Yeah. So it was like at the end of most of the events of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and then like during when they were kings and queens. I didn't even realize that. I'd forgotten. And
then the last battle was basically the Armageddon, like the Judgment Day of Narnia, and like all of the characters like throughout the series that had visited Narnia from the humans, the Pevensies, the Professor, cousin Eustace, and
Eustace Scrub,
and
most British name.
What was it? Jill Tuck?
Jill. Tuck? No,
Jill Pole.
Jill Pole, that's right.
Dang, I had the first one. I had the first name, but I had the second. I did not have this last name.
Right.
And all of them except for Susan, because all of them still believed in Narnia, and Susan didn't. Basically, it was basically their
Yeah.
What was it, like the purgatory before, like, final...
They went to... Well, there was the scene where it was like... Yeah, it was Armageddon. Yeah, there was the whole thing where the monkey made the
fake Aslan.
made the donkey pretend to be Aslan by wearing a pelt. So just kind of like a a false idol kind of thing.
Yep.
And then the real Aslan showed up and started taking away the voices of, like, I think the monkey and other people who were trying to play God, basically. And then I think what happened was there was sort of a kind of reminds me of the story of the sheep and the goats, you know?
Right.
Where there are like two doorways opened up and all of the animals were running towards the doorways, and then depending on the state of their soul, they went through one door or the other. And so all of the a lot of the characters end up in sort of like this paradise place, and they keep on saying, like, the further up and further in, where they're running across the green fields and everything, and like swimming up a waterfall, and they get to this garden, I think, at the end of it.
Right.
Which is kind of like a full circle sort of thing if you're thinking in religious imagery terms. Goes back to
right.
the beginning, because in The Magician's Nephew, the witch, like, eats a golden apple or something.
Yeah, something.
And some curse is unleashed because it was a forbidden fruit. I don't know, but
it's basically a new Genesis.
yeah. Like, C.S. Lewis was a lot more on the nose with his religious imagery than Tolkien was.
Oh, absolutely. It played such a big impact in, like, all of his writings.
Yeah. And one of the things that I appreciated the most was in the last battle. So, you know, what's the name of the people who invaded Narnia?
From Prince Caspian, or
yeah,
the Telmarines, I believe.
The Telmarines?
Let me double check that.
Okay. But there was this cool instance where they were considered to be like this quote-unquote evil race that had taken over Narnia. And when they get to paradise, one of the, like, a random soldier...
Yep,
from
Telmarines.
A random Telmarine soldier is there in paradise. And they're sort of... And they don't really understand why he's there. Because, like, he went into the, like, lion's den, you know, to meet Aslan, and he just never came out.
Right.
And they were like, oh my gosh, Aslan just ate him because he was a Telmarine. But they find him in paradise. They're like, hey, how did you get here? And he said, well, I mean, I had a long talk with Aslan, and I asked him the same question. I asked him why I'm here, because I have always been a follower of Tash, who is the god of the Telmarines, and he said, and I was, you know, faithful to that religion and everything. And he said, so why am I here? And Aslan said, well, you did good in the name of Tash, correct? And he says, yes, I did. And he said, all right, so if you did good, then you did it for me, regardless of whether you knew about me or not.
Aslan is the one true God, confirmed.
Exactly, yeah. So it's kind of like one of those things where people say, like, oh my gosh, like, if you subscribe to the wrong religion, you're going to hell. And you're like, not necessarily. Because people have the ability to be good people in their own way. And I love the sort of the hope and the inclusivity of that. Just sort of like, just do your best in life, and don't judge each other because of, like, where they come from. You know, people are just like, oh, this guy, he's a Telmarine, and so he has to have been devoured and gone to hell. But no, he didn't, because he was a good man.
Yeah.
which I found very interesting.
It's something that you see a lot in like the later like Narnia books, because well, even as early as like Prince Caspian, because even in Prince Caspian, there's like many different like pros and cons to both like the side of like the Narnians and like the Telmarians as well, because like the people of Telmar originally came from Earth. Like Aslan said, they were basically brigands that stumbled upon
No way.
Narnia.
I did not know that.
If I'm not mistaken. Because at the end of Prince Caspian of the book, Aslan creates a portal saying you may either stay here and be ruled by your new king Caspian the Tenth, or if you do not wish to follow him, I will send you to the original home of which you go.
Huh.
Enter this portal and you may disappear.
Huh.
Which is how the children return back.
Oh, okay.
So the Telmarines were originally from Earth.
Wow, okay. Yeah, I had no idea. I'd forgotten about that.
I had to be reminded of that too, so no worries. Yeah. And yeah, it's...
That's awesome. Yeah, and so he's well known for his fiction, like the Narnia series, and then the space trilogy, you know, Out of the Silent Planet and Paralandra, and
I still need to read those.
The third one, I don't remember what it was called.
I still need to read those. I have not read those yet.
Oh, That Hidden Strength. That's what it's called. And which, yeah, just his fascination with the planets. One of them takes place on Mars. The other one takes place on Venus. The one that takes place on Venus is actually kind of like the story of Genesis on a different planet. Like the creation story and everything. So, yeah, something about the planets. Just Lewis loved them. But he's also written a lot of theology and philosophy, kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking at like the bibliography of C.S. Lewis on Wikipedia. He has an entire page just for his bibliography.
Right. Yeah.
Just like how some actors like have their own like filmography pages if like they get enough credits.
Yeah.
I'm reading through like all of his nonfiction titles, and oh man.
Yeah. What are some of them? Because I've read a fair amount of his stuff.
Let's see. The Allegory of Love, a study in medieval tradition.
Nope. I have not read that.
Personal Heresy.
Nope.
Case for Christianity, Preface to Paradise Lost.
Nope.
Abolition of Man.
Yep, read Abolition of Man not too long ago.
Christian Behavior.
Nope.
Beyond Personality.
Nope.
Miracles, a Preliminary Story.
Nope.
Yeah, he's got a lot of them.
I'm like 1 for 12 right now.
I'm just going to some highlighted ones. World's Last Night and Other Essays.
Nope.
Studies in Words.
Nope.
The Four Loves.
Yeah.
An Experiment in Criticism.
Nope.
They asked for a papers and addresses, all essays found in essay collection. What?
No,
What?
I know. I have
What in the world?
I don't even know what that's supposed to be.
I have a feeling some of these are just posthumous releases.
Yeah, maybe. You say, look what I found in one of his drawers. Ah, well, just publish it, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of them are released posthumously in like the 21st century.
Yeah.
And all that. He's also got a lot of poetry. He's also got several poetry credits to his name.
Oh yeah.
I forgot he was also a poet as well.
Get stuff about the planets. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Screwtape Letters, The Great Divorce, Mere Christianity, Surprised by Joy. What is it called? There was one that it was about his grieving process when he lost his wife.
Oh, The Problem of Pain?
The Problem of Pain, yeah.
Yeah.
And he published it under a pseudonym, and then a friend suggested that he read it to help him in his grieving process. Because he's like, I think you would really understand this guy's writing style. And he's like, I think I would too.
Oh, I bet.
But yeah, that's a really interesting story as well. Like, if you've seen the movie Shadowlands with Anthony Hopkins, it's about his friendship and eventual romance with what is her name in the movie? Her name is Joy Grisham, but I think she has a different name. Actually, la-di-da. Let me just look at that, and I will get back to you.
A few moments later. But
I'm still looking.
yeah. So while Hannah's looking that up, and like I said, I can only speak on Lewis's like fictional writings, like myself, especially with Narnia. But the Narnia series is like the most concentrated is the most concentrated form of like C.S. Lewis's like creative writing style, like his mannerisms, his themes, and everything that he puts into his fiction is basically fully immortalized in like the Chronicles of Narnia series. And I always recommend it as like essential viewing, essential reading, I should say, especially growing up.
Yeah.
Just to see like some people like reactions to it. Like, yes, there have been many different criticisms with the series itself, and again, it does come down to viewpoints. I still enjoy them. Still enjoy them.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, in his later life, Lewis corresponded with Joy Davidman Gresham. So, Joy Gresham, yeah, an American writer of Jewish background. She was separated from her alcoholic and abusive husband, and came to England with her two sons, David and Douglas. Lewis at first regarded her as an agreeable intellectual companion and personal friend, and it was on this level that he agreed to enter into a civil marriage contract with her so that she could continue to live in the UK. So basically like a green card marriage, like just so that she and her sons could stay in England.
God.
Let's see. After, Lewis's brother Warren wrote about the marriage. For Jack, the attraction was at first. Jack is C.S. Lewis. He went by Jack, even though his first name was Clive. Clive Staples Lewis. So you can imagine why he went by Jack.
I still think Clive is a good name.
It's a good name, but I don't know. For Jack, the attraction was at first undoubtedly intellectual. Joy was the only woman whom he had ever met who had a brain which matched his own in suppleness, in width of interest, and in analytical grasp, and above all in humor and a sense of fun. So, high praise indeed. Joy was diagnosed with terminal bone cancer, and at that point their relationship developed to the point that they actually sought a Christian marriage. Since she was divorced, this was not straightforward in the Church of England, but a friend performed the ceremony at her bed in the Churchill Hospital in 1957. So they were married. They were only married for 3 years. They had a little bit of time together, and then she died in 1960. The book that he wrote about this was called A Grief Observed.
Okay.
Yeah. And he described the experience of bereavement in such a raw and personal fashion that he originally released it under the pseudonym N.W. Clerk to keep readers from associating the book with him. Ironically, many friends recommended the book to Lewis as a method for dealing with his own grief. There we go. And his authorship of that wasn't made public until after his death, actually. And I believe he adopted her two sons as well, I believe.
Yeah, I actually read right here on the 50th anniversary of his death. I think it was Douglas actually read an excerpt from the last battle. Hold on, I found it. Give me a second. Yeah, right here. The dedication service on the 50th anniversary of his death at noon on 22nd of November 2013 included a reading from The Last Battle by Douglas Gresham, younger stepson of Lewis. Flowers were weighed by Walter Hooper, trustee and literary advisor of the Lewis estate.
Aww.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so he adopted them, and Like he was like their stepfather, I guess, and
Yeah.
and took care of them. So that's that's kind of where the movie ends. Shadowlands is like she passes away, and then I think the last shot is like in the movie she only had the one son, but like of them just walking in the fields, and there's like a dog running along as well.
Oh,
and
doggy!
stuff. Yeah, and
Doggo!
yeah, so it's an excellent movie about allowing yourself to fall in love even though you know you're gonna get hurt, because they had a civil marriage, but they didn't actually like fall in love with each other until after she got cancer, so they knew they didn't have very much time. So yeah, just about that.
Indeed.
That's really all I had to say about C.S. Lewis.
Yeah. I mean, what else can we really say? I mean, the influence of his work, like, speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
When people talk about, like, some of the most influential, like, British authors from the 20th century, usually C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien are usually two of the big ones to be spewed about, especially considering that they both come from the Inklings.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah, like a writer's group.
Yeah. And I've heard from a lot of people that some people actually prefer C.S. Lewis over Tolkien, just in terms of like as like an author and storyteller.
I would say that as far as fiction goes, I enjoy Tolkien's work more, but C.S. Lewis's nonfiction is some of my favorite stuff. Like I think The Great Divorce is probably my favorite thing that I've read by C.S. Lewis, and that actually is fiction. It's about the afterlife. Yeah. People get onto this bus and drive away into the mist, and then they get dropped off somewhere and like meet people from their past and all that. It's interesting.
Yeah. I need to look into his nonfiction works. Now that I think about it, I got a lot of time on my hands lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, like influence. He's one of the big influence in like modern children's literature. Like all of the modern literature, like stories, like the series of Unfortunate Events series, Artemis Fowl, even the Harry Potter books, like like our influence and owe a debt of gratitude to like Lewis's works.
Yep.
It was kind of like a stepping stone for like how far like what you could push with children's literature. Even by an extension, I would say the Redwall series.
Yeah, anthropomorphic animals. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like if you had to draw a Redwall, basically could be the land of Boxen, you know.
It could either be the land of Boxen or it could be the second Narnia after the end of Last Battle. We don't know.
Could be, yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely C.S. Lewis, one of my favorite authors growing up, still is. And I always recommend the Narnia series to anyone, especially young minds growing up. And I really need to check out his nonfiction works, because from what you've been talking about, it just sounds so...
I can give you some suggestions.
Right.
I have...
Send them to me. I will find them. I will walk to my local library to find them.
Oh man, yeah. I'll go to Half Price Books and get some.
I mean, it would look good on the new bookshelves, like we got.
It definitely would, yeah.
For those not aware, like in the new studio, like for the new place that we have, there are two bookshelf spaces built into the walls.
Yeah, little book nooks.
So we might make those like a little like geek corners with like movies, games, and books and stuff.
Yeah, I mean it already is kind of a geek corner. You got tons of
there's
tons
a lot
of video games up there.
Yeah, it's a lot of video games up there. I really want like a bookshelf space though.
Yeah.
I might need to order like another bookshelf.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You could put the video games down there in the little console thing you've got there.
We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'm still in the middle.
This isn't an interior design podcast, after all.
I still need to figure out how I want to decorate everything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still got a map of Rohan that I need to put up.
Isn't it a map of the entirety of Middle Earth?
It's a map of Middle Earth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't forget your steampunk demon that I painted for you.
Oh no, that goes up. That goes up. That
and your tiefling bard also. I need to get that printed. Just all the demons that I have drawn for you and
what can I say?
that have been commissioned.
Well, I think we're done.
I think so too, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the General Geekery Podcast. It is great to be back off of hiatus. If you guys like what you have heard today, please make sure to follow us wherever podcasts can be found. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spreaker. And if you don't have access to any of those services, please make sure to follow the General Geekery Podcast on YouTube at Anime Rev Productions. That is Anime Rev Productions on YouTube. We have the full playlist of every single episode right from the beginning, available for your listening pleasure. Also, if you guys want to follow us on social media, we are on Twitter and Facebook at Gen Geek Podcast and on Instagram at General Geekery. And we also have a Discord if you guys want to chat with me and Hannah called the General Geekery Guild, where we talk all things about geek stuff, past episodes, or we just share general memes with each other.
GGG.
All of the descriptions for that, the description and link to the Discord is in the description of this episode. Click on the link and join the General Geekery Guild.
Yes.
And if
it's not just me flinging memes into the void.
I remember the other day we were talking about, what was it we were talking about on there?
Oh gosh.
Oh, we were talking about the upcoming Amazon series for Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
If you guys wanted to join the discussion on that, definitely check that out.
Oh yes.
That's gonna be interesting.
The Silmarillion I read only recently,
so it's fresh in the mind.
Yes.
Fresh in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you guys want to, if you guys like what you've been listening to and what we do, and want to support all of us into everything that we do, including the General Geekery Podcast and our Inepticon series, which we are streaming twice a month now.
Yep.
Yay! On Thursdays on Twitch.tv Ryuzaki MK7. Go check those out. If you guys want to donate and help all of what we do grow, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/General Geekery. Go check that out. Every now and again, we will post exclusive content on there, including thoughts on different topics that we have in mind, top 10 lists, and we expect to be doing a lot more. And you can also get early access to all of our episodes before they go live. So go check that out at patreon.com/General Geekery. The link for that will also be in the description of this episode.
Yeah.
Hannah, where can they find you? What did you up to?
Well, you can find me rolling dice with my party every Monday at 7:30 Central on twitch.tv/Loaded Dice Adventures. We are a ongoing homebrew Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I play Petra, the Dragonborn Ranger Rogue, who's always game to shoot a zombie. Shoot a zombie first and ask questions later. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a really exciting episode this Monday. When is this episode coming out?
This will be going up on the Sunday after we record.
So this Sunday?
Yeah, this Sunday.
Cool. So tomorrow, on Monday, we're doing a prison break. One of our guys is in a prison, a re-education program for magic users, and we gotta bust him out. It's gonna be tons of fun. You can also follow me on Instagram if you would like, at Pythian Legume.
Don't forget about SPLANCHNIC.
Oh, that's right, and I do a podcast with my mom called SPLANCHNIC, where we talk about literature, movies, and tabletop gaming, all from the perspective of two different generations.
Awesome. And if you guys want to check me out in doing everything that I've been doing, I am on Twitter and Instagram at RyuzakiMK7. You can check me out doing all sorts of gaming stuff for coffee, ninja, picks, and everything like that. I've been practicing my latte art lately. I've been liking where it's going. Hopefully one day soon I can make the General Geekery logo as a latte art.
Oh my gosh, I can't even I can barely make that as actual art. So good luck with that.
Maybe that's something that we should honestly do as like a thing, as like a goal or something like that. We reach a certain amount of followers or like Patreon donors and everything like that on camera. I will teach Hannah how to do latte art.
That sounds awesome.
I have an espresso machine.
Ooh, okay, cool.
I'll figure out what to do.
Let's make that a goal.
And if you guys also want to check me out on Twitch as well, I am on twitch.tv/RyuzakiMK7. I play a majority of different games. A lot of them are RPG based, but I always love interacting with my chat room, having a lot of fun, and I've been having a lot of guests on there just to bug me and everything like that, and just crack jokes, have fun. At the time of recording this episode, the day previously, I did my birthday stream. Which was a heck of a lot of fun.
How did that go? Did you end up doing a 24-hour thing? Or?
I haven't done one yet. I need to replan for that. I might just do an entire weekend of streaming to make up for it. But
right.
24-hour stream maybe in the future. I'll have to do that for charity.
I can't imagine.
Oh, don't worry. I'll have people like come in every now and again to help me through that. I've done 24-hour gaming sessions before. It's rough, but it's always a lot of fun, especially when you're raising money for charity.
As long as it's for charity. I
will always do it for charity. So
I've pulled all-nighters for way stupider reasons, so.
Same, but still. And that's all on twitch.tv/RyuzakiMK7. That is also the Twitch channel where we do Inepticon, where we have Hannah play all sorts of different video games.
Woo.
This past session of Inepticon, we had Hannah tackle The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker for Nintendo GameCube.
And we figured out that I am terrible at playing The Wind Waker.
No.
I cannot do it.
It was just that opening session where it was like a rough and your sword got taken away and you had to be a little bit sneakier, and it was just like, God.
That I was fine at. The Wind Waker, the actual instrument.
Oh, the instrument, that's
right.
That
was such an anticlimactic ending, because that was the last thing we did, was learning how to play the Wind Waker, and I could not do it. It was 7 times over and over again, where the guy is like, no, you have to do it in 4/4 time. I'm like, I don't even know what you mean.
Oh man, I can't wait to sit down and edit those.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, that's all on twitch.tv/RyuzakiMK7. Go ahead and check that out. It is always a lot of fun.
Man, I'm exhausted just hearing everything that we're doing, all said together like that.
we got to make up for a lot of lost time, and luckily we have a new space to really do that in, and
so many links.
It's good. So many links, so many things going on, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode 87 of General Geekery.
Holy crap.
It's nice to be back at it after a month on hiatus. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for listening to this very first edition of Author August. We hope to have more literary conversations coming soon. For Hannah Kubiak, I'm Donald Kaczynski. And until next time, guys, do not lose your way from where you came from the land of Spare in the city of Wardrobe. But always remember to keep your geek on.
Always.
Clink, clink.
Clink, clink.
Also, don't accept Turkish delights from seemingly well-to-do older white women.
Random women, strange women handing out Turkish delight is no system for a basis for system of government.
Don't trust Turkish delight. Bye, guys.
Bye.